Welcome to the Explainer. So OpenAI just dropped its new flagship model, GPT-5, and it is a big deal. In this Explainer, we're going to break down what makes it such a massive leap forward, what's new under the hood, and, most importantly, how you can start playing with it today.
Okay, let's just dive right in. With a feeling I think we've all had, you've got a task to do, right? But then you have to stop and think, okay, wait, should I use the creative model for this, or the coding one, or just the default? To get the best result, you kind of had to be an expert on the AI itself, which is frustrating.
Well, the single biggest change with GPT-5 is that it takes that whole problem right off the table. It's now one single, unified system that's smart enough to figure out what you're trying to do. It then automatically routes your request to the right specialist inside the model. This doesn't just make it more powerful, it makes it way simpler to use.
So, here's what we're going to cover. We'll start with this one model idea. Then we'll dig into why it's smarter, safer, and more versatile. We'll look at some real side-by-side examples, understand its secret superpower, tell you how to get access, and finally, wrap it up with the key takeaways.
All right, first up, one model. No confusion. This is probably the most impactful change for pretty much everyone because it totally streamlines the experience. No more guesswork, no more switching.
So here's how it works in practice. The whole process is now totally seamless. It doesn't matter if you're asking it to write a poem, solve a tricky math problem, or just chat. GPT-5 looks at your prompts and automatically calls on the right internal expert for the job. You can think of it like having a whole team of specialists inside the AI, and it's a brilliant project manager that knows exactly who to assign the task to. You just get to focus on what you want to do, and the model handles the rest.
Okay, so this unified model isn't just about making things easier. It's actually the foundation for some major upgrades under the hood. This isn't just a shiny new interface, the engine itself is way more capable.
First off, it's just smarter, a lot smarter. I mean, look at these scores. On the GPQA Diamond benchmark, which is this absolutely brutal test of PhD-level science questions, it's scoring almost 90%. And for coding, it nails nearly 75% on a benchmark that throws real-world software problems at it. These aren't just little bumps, these are massive leaps in reasoning.
And this is where things get really exciting for me. We're talking about a huge improvement in safety and reliability. You know, one of the biggest barriers to really trusting AI has been hallucinations. That's when the model just confidently makes stuff up. Well, with GPT-5's new thinking mode, that rate has absolutely plummeted to under 5%.
And to really put that into perspective, just look at this chart. Its predecessor, GPT-4o, had a hallucination rate of over 20%. That means GPT-5 is more than 4 times less likely to invent facts. This is a huge step towards making AI a tool you can actually rely on for serious work.
But it's not just about raw intelligence. It's also become this incredibly versatile assistant. It's truly multimodal, so you can talk to it, show it pictures, feed it documents. It handles it all. It can even do new tricks like connecting to your calendar for context or analyzing a video of your whiteboard notes. And get this, it has built-in vibes, so you can just tell it to be the nerd or the listener without having to write some super long, complicated prompt.
Okay, so numbers and features on a slide are one thing, but what does this actually feel like to use? What's the real difference in the real world? Let's put GPT-5 head-to-head with the last model and see for ourselves.
All right, check this out. Say you ask both models to plan a weekend trip. The difference is just night and day. GPT-4o gives you a pretty generic plan, vague suggestions. But GPT-5? It gives you specific restaurant names, a much more logical itinerary, a link to a pre-made Google Maps route, and even a smarter budget that builds in a cushion. It's the difference between a rough idea and a real usable plan.
Now let's try something a bit more technical, like writing some code. Ask for a sorting algorithm, and sure, GPT-4o gives you code that works, but it's not great. GPT-5's approach is just far superior. It picks a faster method, it handles tricky edge cases like duplicate numbers way more gracefully, and it even explains how you can make it more memory efficient. It's not just that the answer is correct, it's that it's just better engineering.
So, what's the magic trick here? How is it able to handle these more complex requests and process so much more information? Well, a huge piece of the puzzle is its memory, or what we call its massively expanded context window.
So this thing called the context window, the easiest way to think about it is as the AI's short-term memory. Everything you type in a conversation, every document you upload, it all has to fit inside this window for the AI to see it and work with it. If the window's too small, it starts to forget the beginning of the conversation.
Now, the base version of GPT-5 can handle up to 272,000 tokens. A token is basically a word or part of a word. But let's be honest, 272,000 is just a big, abstract number, right? What does that actually mean? What can you do with that?
Let's put this in perspective, because this is where it gets kind of mind-blowing. 32,000 tokens. That's about the size of a corporate annual report. 128,000 is a pretty thick nonfiction book. But 272,000 tokens, that's about 408 pages. That means you can literally upload the entire text of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows and ask the AI to analyze it in a single go. Wild.
Okay, so with all this incredible new power, I'm sure the question on everyone's mind is, how do I get my hands on this thing?
And here is some genuinely great news. For the first time ever with a big flagship launch, a base version of GPT-5 is available to free users from day one. Now, there are usage limits, of course, but if you're on a paid plan like Plus or Pro, you'll get higher limits, access to those powerful thinking modes, and eventually the top-of-the-line GPT-5 Pro model.
All right, let's bring this all home. We've covered a lot of ground. If you're going to remember just a few key things from this explainer, let these be the ones.
So what really makes GPT-5 a game changer? First, it's that one unified model, no more guesswork. Second, it is drastically more reliable with that huge drop in hallucinations. Third, that massive context window lets it analyze entire books at once. And fourth, its superior reasoning just makes it flat out smarter at tough problems.
And the big picture here is that a release like this is about more than just one cool new product. It sets a completely new bar for the entire AI industry. It forces everyone else to step up their game and not just accelerates innovation for all of us.
So when you take away that friction, when you remove the need to be an expert on the tool itself, and you just dramatically increase its power and reliability, well, it really just leaves us with one final very exciting question.